Hel, an ancient root to shine, as in the Greek Helios sun, Hebrew Halel, bright, and Finnic, Hel bright. The soft H interchanges with S, and in other languages Sal, or Sil, is the same, Latin Sol sun, Akkadian and Turkish Sil, shine. El, God's name offers itself, also Elohim, and Elohi, which differ so little, that Helios seems to occupy all them. The most learned confess that it is not of Greek origination. Some affirm that it is Punic, that it is of Assyrian origin, both of which proves what we intend. For both Herodotus, when he understands the Hebrews, calls them Phoenicians, whose tongue was Punics, so called from the Phoenicians, used. Also Tacitus affirms, that the Assyrians gave origin to the Hebrews, and possessed their country. Therefore they that make Helios an Assyrian or Phoenician name, confessed also that it is Hebrew, which also the interpreter of Virgil demonstrates from his argument, because Helios is drawn from that language wherein Hel signifies God. Now, none can be ignorant, that in the sacred scriptures Hail is used for God, which the Greeks of old founded, Hel. From testimonies of learned authors, which makes Saturn the same with Bel. The Greeks call Baal, Bel, who they say is the same with Saturn. The Phoenicians and Syrians call Saturn Bel and Hel, whence not improbably our old god Hel, formerly famous in Britain, and the father of our Cassibelinus, is sometimes styled Hel, or Heli. Paul, the sun, Greek Helios, Hebrew Hal-al, to shine. Halel, the morning star, sun. Helios, the sun or sun god of ancient Greece. The worship of the sun was practiced also among the ancient Romans, not however under the name of Helios, which was particular to Greece, but under that of Sol. Sol, Saturn, Jupiter, and Vulcan, were all one, being titles of the chief deity, the sun. Helios, whom they call by the appellation Dionysus, is the winter sun, Dionysus Saturn. Kronos, of whom Carneios is a variant, also reappears as the radiant and glorious sun god in the familiar and beautiful passage in Pindar. Helios and Kronos were one and the same god. The Egyptian counterpart of the Greek Kronos was Keb, the great orb. Kronos, when dissected, becomes Ark, On, the great fire, the one light. Ark, and On are three ancient names for the sun. The celebrated ancient poet Nonnus gives to Hercules the name of Helios, or sun, and further says that he is the same god that divers people adore under a host of different names, as Belus upon the shores of the Euphrates, Ammon in Libya, Apis in Memphis, Saturn in Arabia, Jupiter in Assyria, Serapis in Egypt, Helios with the Babylonians, Apollo at Delphi, and Aesculapius in all Greece. Phoebus Apollo was the god of light in a twofold signification. First, as representing the great orb of day which illuminates the world, and secondly, as the heavenly light which animates the soul of man. He inherited his function as sun god from Helios. With all the mythological beings and legendary heroes whose nature is related to sun, light and especially warmth, like Orion, Sirius, Aristeos, and Kronos. In mythology, as in language, there are synonyms, for example Apollon and Helios, Hercules and Perseus. Phaethon, Greek. The shining, a Homeric epithet or surname of Helios. Phaethon's real identity is indeed that of the sun, by way of hypostasis. It is important to note when we read the mythological stories of the sun gods having brothers or sons, sons overthrowing and castrating fathers, the theme of being cast out or falling from their former glory. It is merely a change in the name and title of the sun god, the sun. We see this with many former sun gods such as Uranus, Saturn, Kronos, Phaethon, Satan, Lucifer, Jupiter and Zeus, most of whom are reassigned a heavenly position and deified to the less brilliant luminaries such as planets and stars. It matters not what title or name be applied, for it is still the sun that we find at the head. The reign of Helios preceded that of Saturn, and Osiris was the son of Saturn, and one of the younger gods. Greek astronomical lore also preserves Saturn's connection with the sun, with reference to the Babylonian star worshippers. The chronicler Diodorus writes, "To the one we call Saturn they give a special name, sun star." Various manuscripts of the Epinomis, traditionally ascribed to Plato but now thought to be the work of Philip of Opus, substitute the name Helios for Kronos, in apparent recognition of the ancient identification of Saturn as the star of the sun. According to Ptolemy, the people of Persia and Mesopotamia worshipped the star Aphrodite, Venus, naming it Isis, and the star Kronos, Saturn, as Mithra's Helios. Saturn, known as the nocturnal sun, and Pluto, Porphyry explained, is the sun going beneath the earth and voyaging round the invisible world. According to Claudius Ptolemy, in his great work on astrology, the Tetrabibla, the inhabitants of India paid devotion to Saturn, invoking him under the name of Mithran Helios. Xenophon says that the Persians call the sun by the name of Mithras. And as Helios was the Greek term for that luminary, it may have been added, as an English writer might say, le sol, the sun. Chaldeans considered Saturn the most significant of the planets, and drew from it the greater number of important auguries. The Greeks called it both Kronos and Helios, which last is as certain as it is strange, for in a resume of the astronomy of Eudoxus in a papyrus at the Louvre, Saturn is clearly called the sun, as stir. Diodorus Siculus of Sicily reported that the Chaldeans called Cronus, Saturn, by the name Helios, or the sun. The star the Greeks call Kronos they call the star Helios, meaning that Saturn is identified with the sun.